Hey, thanks for meeting me here at this public library. You're probably wondering why I asked you to come here? Well, I think my computer, the smoky computer, you know the one, was hacked. How else do you explain the fact that after I revealed I was covering Batman Hush in the last What Is episode, Linkara releases a video on Batman Hush right when I was supposed to. I've been in hiding the past few weeks, that's why I haven't uploaded anything. Linkara, he's got a bug on me or something, so I'm using this old Mac computer. You know, the giant plastic ones that come in different colors and had mice that only occasionally worked because the ball was screwed up by some dumb kids. I'm using that to make and release this video.
Hush! Sir, this is a library. You'll have to lower your voice, or else you'll have to leave.
No, he's out there waiting for me, I just know it.
Shh. Okay, sorry. Yes, I'll keep it hushed. Released in 2002, written by Jeff Loeb, with art by Jim Lee. This is Batman Hush. I'll be honest, so leave a like for honesty. I think Batman Hush is a bad story. I don't understand why everyone goes on and on about how great it is, and that it's the must-read Batman story. I assume it's entirely due to Jim Lee's artwork. I just don't feel that this is as good of a story as Loeb's other work, like The Long Halloween, the Marvel Color series, or Ultimatum. But before I get started, here's a plug. I have a Patreon, and on this Patreon, I will be uploading pages from my work-in-progress horror western graphic novel called A Dead Fish in the Grass. All 166 pages have been completely illustrated. All that I'm doing now is digitally editing and lettering them. My plan is to get it published and sold in a tangible form. But until that happens, I will be uploading a couple pages to my Patreon each week. I will also be uploading pages from DESTRUCTO Boy and other exciting tales. DESTRUCTO Boy is a 40-page anthology made up of 3 short stories, written, drawn, and lettered by myself. It got published after I won a local contest last year. It's still on sale for $19.99 plus shipping in the description below. So for $2 a month, you'll get access to DESTRUCTO Boy pages that I will be uploading each week. And at the $3 tier, you'll have access to both DESTRUCTO Boy and A Dead Fish in the Grass. So head on over there if you're interested. The book begins in the Gotham City shipyards. That's right, I'm doing this whole video That's right, this whole video's ASMR. Get ready. I'm sticking with this gimmick. So anyway, Batman breaks into some place to stop someone from doing something. Batman takes down the kidnappers and saves a young boy who has been ransomed. Is that right? Is that the right way to say that? Batman carries the boy out and they escape. Then Killer Croc attacks. And what the fuck is wrong with him? He looks like the lizard. And why is that moon so big? And why is Catwoman in the background? Foreshadowing. Killer Croc beats Batman silly with his little briefcase and then tries to eat him. Batman wonders why Killer Croc is part of this kidnapping. As he fights him, Catwoman steals the briefcase full of money. They fight some more until Batman bests the Beast and wonders what Killer Croc, a giant human crocodile wearing a toga, would need money for. The FBI rock up and Batman spots Selina Kyle making her escape with the briefcase, so he gives chase. There's cool action shots of the two traipsing above Gotham, and as Batman is about to grab her, his line is cut, causing him to plummet to the streets below. He slows himself on a gargoyle, but it's a gargoyle, and he keeps falling. Then he lands in a back alley where he's surrounded by an assortment of criminals. Elsewhere, Selina Kyle brings the briefcase full of cash to her benefactor, Poison Ivy. Sorry. Anyway, one of the guys in the alley tries to take Batman's cowl off, but a noxious gas sprays out. Then they get electrocuted, so one of them pulls a gun and puts it right in Batman's face, and Huntress shows up on her sweet motorcycle. She kicks their asses like a badass with an ab window, and then the Batmobile remotely drives up so she can load Bruce inside. Then they part ways, all while a mysterious figure in bandages watches on. It's like the Mummy trying to be undercover. Sometime later at the Batcave, Alfred attempts to mend Bruce as he speaks with Barbara Gordon. Then Bruce's finger begins tapping in Morse code, and he calls for Thomas Elliot, a character made specifically for this story, who has been retconned to be Bruce's childhood best friend. The next day, all the news outlets make articles about how the billionaire playboy wrecked his car and is getting operated on by renowned surgeon Dr. Thomas Elliot. So Thomas operates on Bruce's damaged skull and brain, and he makes a safe and miraculously quick recovery. Look, Lois and Jimmy worked on an article about it. Elsewhere, the mysterious bandaged face, who will be known as Hush, gets all angry and rips up the newspaper. Don't know why, that doesn't really make a lot of sense later. Sometime later, Batman interrogates Killer Croc in Arkham Asylum, and by interrogate, I mean asking a single question before leaving. For some reason, Killer Croc has been mutating to look more like the Lizard. Maybe Jim Lee doesn't know what a crocodile looks like, I don't know. And he grows angry and smashes the glass of his holding cell. Also Killer Croc is wearing short shorts. Croc throws Batman against some guards and climbs through a tunnel. Then Amanda Waller shows up. She and Batman have a scathing back and forth before Waller tells him to get Croc before midnight, or she'll put him down or something, I guess. Later at Wayne Manor, Alfred finds Thomas Elliot at the front door. Alfred makes an excuse for why Bruce isn't there. Something about him chasing a woman, I don't know. Elliot tells Alfred, as his surgeon and an old friend, tell him something for me. This is a dangerous game he's playing. Sir? Going out and about when he should be in bed. It's dangerous. That's not ominous. Flashback time. Thomas and Bruce's kids. Bruce consoles Thomas after his parents are taken to the hospital after they got into a car crash. Bruce says that his dad, Thomas Wayne, a doctor, will make sure that nothing bad happens to them. They shake hands as Thomas Wayne comes out to tell Thomas Elliot that his mother will be fine, but his father died. So Thomas punches Bruce for making a promise that didn't come true. Back in the present, Batman cruises around in his car talking to Oracle when his tire is shot out, causing him to crash. Elsewhere, Croc climbs up a building in the rain and finds Catwoman in a greenhouse. Croc walks in like Moon Knight looking for Dracula, and Selina exclaims that it was Poison Ivy who stole the money. As Croc is about to eat her, Batman launches his grapple gun and reins Croc and launches him out of the window, where he strikes a brick wall. Batman tells Croc that someone is playing them. Croc shouts that he wants the money to fix himself or something, but then Waller's helicopters fly up, open fire, capture Croc, and fly away. Meanwhile, a mysterious figure stands on a neighboring rooftop watching. Batman turns and sees nothing. Ooh, but look where he was standing. He was on a building with a big sign that says Robins. Dun dun dun. Batman starts walking away when Catwoman leaps over and tells him that she knows where Poison Ivy is. Metropolis. Then they kiss beneath a giant moon. So, Bruce flies to Metropolis and thinks about his kiss with Selina 3 times over 3 different pages. Coincidentally enough, he runs into Elliot. They share a ride and reminisce about the time their families visited Metropolis and saw Green Lantern fighting the icicle. Later that night, Batman and Catwoman embark across the city in search of Poison Ivy. Later they find Ivy at some sort of old factory or warehouse or something, and Selina acts like she's still under Ivy's control, but Ivy sees right through her ruse and they fight. Just as Selina is getting choked out by a vine, Batman slices it with a batarang and tells Ivy she's going back to Gotham. Then the ground begins to shake and rumble, and the building starts to collapse, and from the dust and rubble appears Superman, under Ivy's control somehow. It's cool, don't question it. Ivy orders Superman to kill them, and his eyes begin glowing red. Then he blasts at them as they dive into the harbor and swim away. They escape into some kind of underground tunnel system made of lead. Batman puts a kryptonite ring on his finger and as he plants some sort of bat bombs. Then they kiss again and Selina leaves. Superman crashes his way into the tunnel, and Batman punches him with his ring. So, they eventually break their way back out onto the streets, coincidentally below the Daily Planet where Catwoman has Lois hostage. And then she drops her. But luckily, Superman was inside all. He breaks free of Ivy's control by way of his super will and saves Lois. Then they go and capture Poison Ivy with the help of Crypto, the super dog. Later, Batman and Superman speak to each other on a rooftop about this dumb story that they're in, as a mysterious bandaged figure watches them from afar. An unspecified amount of time later, Bruce attends an opera with Selina, Elliot, and Leslie Thompson. Or is it Thomas? I can't remember. It's Pagliacci. They're watching Pagliacci. Do you get it? As the show begins, the clown sings nonsensically, and then the suit rips open to reveal Harley Quinn. It's a basic robbery. She and her goons enter the crowd and steal stuff, and she finds Bruce Wayne's box, and Harley steals Thomas's necklace. It's like a jade ring or something that was given him by his mother. Then the goons open fire on the crowd. As Batman races into action, he handily defeats the goons, but is hit on the noggin by some sandbags by Harley. As she puts a comically oversized handgun in his face, Catwoman kicks her in the jaw. They both fight, but Selina is shot. Then everyone starts fucking clapping because they think it's part of the show. Elsewhere, Harley is shoulder checked by Thomas, and they get into a brawl over the necklace, and they run out the back. Elsewhere, Batman kicks a metal door down as lightning strikes, and the rain falls hard on his grimace. He races through the alley and finds a horrifying Joker crouching over the dying body of Elliot Thomas. Nope, that's not his name, that's backwards. Of Thomas Elliot. This is probably my favorite part of the whole story. I just love Jim Lee's Joker in this panel. It's just terrifying. He looks like a demon crouching over a corpse. So Batman kicks Joker's shit in as he remembers all the terrible things that Joker did to pre-established characters. But this is the worst thing he's ever done. So Batman chokes out Joker, and Joker whispers that he's innocent. He didn't kill Thomas Elliot. Batman slams him against the wall, but is stopped from going any further by Selina. Then Batman scorpions her to him and punches her in the shoulder that she just got shot in. Why does this never come up anymore? Why does Hank Pym never live down when he slapped poor Janet, but Batman is okay when he punches her bullet wound? Also, there was that time Spider-Man hit MJ. Shh. Sorry about that. I got worked up. Meanwhile, Joker runs away but is stopped by Batman. As he manhandles Joker, someone with a gun rocks up behind him, grazes Batman's shoulder, and orders him to stand down. It's revealed to be Jim Gordon. Batman asks how many more lives they'll let Joker ruin, and Jim, whose daughter was fucking paralyzed by the Joker, says that he won't let him ruin Batman's. And as usual, Hush looks over the scene. Then he flips a coin. One side ruined, the other not. It lands at the scarred side, and he looks right at the camera and says,
Get the joke?
God, this is the longest comic. It's like 12 fucking issues, but it feels like 48, and I'm only halfway done. Oh my god, I hate this. So, Bruce attends Elliot's funeral. He goes back to being Batman, and he hasn't slept in 56 hours as he tries to figure out who the mastermind behind this ever-growing labyrinth of characters in a mediocre story is. It's like a combination of Gotham by Gaslight and Nightfall. You have this mysterious character who no one can figure out the identity of. A completely new character who's been introduced and has known Bruce Wayne for most of his life. And then there's a cavalcade of villains that Batman has to fight. But it's not as good as either of those stories. Anyway, Nightwing shows up and Batman tells him that Joker didn't kill Thomas. Dick says that Bruce was there and saw all the evidence, but Bruce tells him that he saw what he was meant to see. So he goes over all the possibilities when Barbara alerts them that the Riddler hijacked an armored car with $11 million in it. So Nightwing takes Bruce out on the town to clear his head. For old time's sake, they take out one of the old Batmobiles. Oh look, it's all the Batmobiles. Good job, Jim. I wonder how much this page sold for. In Gotham City, Riddler cruises around in his armored car counting his quiche when the old-school Batmobile T-bones them. Nightwing takes care of the goons as Batman goes for Riddler, who escaped into the sewer system. Riddler emerges from a manhole to find Batman. They quickly bag and tag the criminals, and Batman investigates the armored car and finds ash from the Lazarus Pit. What the fuck? The Lazarus Pit is this pit. Well, there's a couple of them. It's a pit of primordial goop water that Ra's al Ghul uses to revitalize himself. It's like 4 hymns. Later in the night, Selina visits the zoo while someone visits Arkham. Get it? 'Cause they're both zoos filled with animals. Selina visits a white tiger as the mysterious bandaged man called Hush, who may or may not be Two-Face, visits the Joker. And Batman appears before Selina. The two masked men simultaneously reveal their identities to those they speak to. Bruce as Batman, and Harvey Dent, who has had his face fixed, just like in The Dark Knight Returns. Remember that? Wasn't that cool? Let's do that again. Harvey says that Two-Face is gone and he's finishing what he started as district attorney. Don't know why he had to tell Joker this, but whatever. Selina says that Bruce needs a shave and a bath, and the fucking tiger licks its lips. I can't fucking... And the fucking tiger... Sorry. And the fucking tiger licks its lips. What the fuck? Sometime later, Bruce assaults a private jet, and inside he finds Talia al Ghul, daughter of Ra's al Ghul. He kidnaps Talia or something and takes her to a safe house. She and her father, they don't have the best relationship right now. I think they kind of want to kill each other. Anyway, upon returning to the Batcave, he finds Ra's sword stabbed into one of his control panels. He panics and runs up the stairs and finds Alfred preparing a pot of tea. Elsewhere, Jim is woken in the middle of the night by Harvey Dent. Dent tells Jim that when the gun used to kill Thomas Elliot is found, it'll be linked back to Gordon as it's his old service revolver. Jim asks how that could happen, and Dent tells him it's all part of the game. Cut to somewhere in North Africa. Ra's al Ghul sits around shirtless in the desert as Batman walks up behind him. Ra's asks if Bruce thinks he is the one responsible for the death of Thomas Elliot. Then he grabs his sword and says that if Batman can defeat him, then he will help solve the mystery. But if Ra's wins, Bruce is to release his daughter. So they have a sword fight for a few pages so Jim can draw something cool. And what's cooler than that issue of Batman where these two fought shirtless in the desert with swords? Back in Gotham, Lady Shiva breaks into the safe house, attacks Selina, and tries to free Talia. Shiva takes down Selina, but then Talia slams a wooden chair into her back and leaves. And in the desert, Batman rams a sword through Ra's chest, and a group of assassins suddenly appear with their weapons ready. Ra's tells Batman that he is also looking for the same person Batman is. You see, a couple months ago, there was someone who used one of the Lazarus pits until it became useless or something, I don't know. And so Ra's wants to find that person and kill him or something, he's pissed. Then Ra's asks who Batman knows that would wish to come back from the dead. Sometime later, again, Selina, she's recuperated, and she helps Bruce repair his computer. You know, after the sword broken, he ponders if everything they've gone through for the last 9 issues has been orchestrated by one person, and if so, who and why. Then Selina notices something and leaps back and grabs Robin. Tim Drake fights her until Batman grabs him by the scruff and tells them to knock it off, and tells Tim that he revealed his identity to Selina. Tim yells at her again, and then she rides off on one of their motorcycles. After she leaves, Tim asks if Bruce thinks she bought it. Selina is cut off by Huntress. They pull into a back alley. Huntress begins incoherently rambling about the money, and then she attacks Catwoman. Batman and Robin show up. Robin stays on the rooftop while Batman goes down to stop the fight. Meanwhile, Hush appears from behind Robin and clocks him in the face. Meanwhile, Scarecrow rides up and attacks Batman and Catwoman. Batman leaps on the bike, and this causes Scarecrow to lose control, sending them through a wrought iron fence and into a cemetery. Batman rips Scarecrow's mask off and says that Jonathan Crane matched the profile perfectly. He used his knowledge as a psychiatrist to exploit Joker, Harley, Ivy, Croc, Huntress, Catwoman, and himself. Scarecrow sheepishly says that his fear gas should be working on Batman, unless his mind was already infected by something else. Then he's cut across the forehead by a speeding metal object, a batarang caught in the hands of Hush. Hush begins to tear his bandages off and reveals Jason Todd. Also, he's holding Tim hostage. That's right, Jason Todd is Hush. Jason threatens to cut Tim's throat, but Catwoman leaps into the scene and breaks Tim away, allowing Batman to tackle Jason into a tombstone. They fight for a bit as the sky turns bright red and lightning continually strikes. What, is there a crisis going on or something? Jason demands that Bruce fight him, so Bruce stabs him in the leg with a batarang, and then Jason kicks him in the face. They gain equal ground and fight some more, but Jason runs away, so Batman chases him. They fight again, and Bruce says that this isn't Jason, so he beats Jason's face in until eventually it turns into clay. It's Clayface. It's actually Clayface. How? Gotcha. How did he know who Jason Todd was? Or what he would look like as a young man? Who knows? Don't question it. Doesn't it look cool? This was written in 2002. Under the Red Hood was in 2004. And in 2006, Batman Annual 25 revealed that it actually is Jason. At the beginning of the fight, it was Jason, and that he's working for Hush alongside Clayface for some reason. And when Jason ran away, he switched places with Clayface to mess with Batman, I guess. Later that night, Batman visits Oracle and asks her to track down Huntress. As he's about to leave, Barbara asks him why, when he was barely conscious, that he thought of Thomas Elliot. So much so that he called for him when he was about to die. Remember that? That was like 9 issues ago. Jesus, this is going on for an eternity. When will this ever end? What am I doing? I'm pretending to be in a public library, doing a fucking ASMR video. What is happening? So a few days later, on a bridge leading to some comic book creator references, Batman meets a mysterious figure in a trench coat. Harold, the mute hunchback who used to work as Batman's mechanic in the Batcave. Harold tells Batman that someone helped him not have a hunchback and learn to talk or whatever. But then he learned that his mysterious benefactor knows who Batman really is and made Harold commit sabotage on Bruce's computer system. Just as Harold is about to reveal the identity, he's shot to death. Batman turns around to find Hush. Hush opens fire on Batman and he escapes away onto the bridge. They fight, Hush falls to the ground, and Batman discovers a jade ring on a necklace. Dun dun dun. Yep, it's Thomas Elliot, that wonderful character that we all know and love and care about, and are very surprised by the fact that he betrayed Bruce and is the villain. Who could have seen it coming? Thomas says that Bruce's father lost his dad, leaving him alone with his mother, even though Bruce promised him he would save them. Batman says,
"Is that what this is all about? A child's broken promise?"
Hush tells him no, this is because Thomas Wayne saved his mother's life. Dun dun dun! You see, when he was a child, Thomas Elliot sabotaged his parents' brake lines because he's a psychopath. He wanted them to die so he could collect the fucking inheritance or whatever. This is so fucking dumb. Then the Batmobile blows up and Hush prepares to execute Bruce when Jim Gordon shows up with Harvey Dent. And then the weird, bald Harvey Dent shoots Hush twice in the chest with Jim Gordon's old service revolver. Tommy falls into the harbor and Batman leaps in after him. But he finds nothing. He returns to the bridge and finds Gordon arresting Harvey. Batman asks Harvey who did his plastic surgery, and it's revealed that it was a friend of Bruce Wayne, Dr. Thomas Elliot. Oh, he was a puppet master the whole time. 2 weeks later, Bruce speaks to Clark in the Batcave about how long Elliot had been planning this. Then he shows Clark all the subliminal messages Harold hid in his computer. Clark asks what he can do to help. He's already searched the harbor, but couldn't find his body. Bruce says that he knows Elliot did something to him when he operated on him. So Clark uses his X-ray vision and finds something at the base of Bruce's skull. Then Bruce tells Clark to laser it out of him. Clark tells Bruce that he can't blame himself for this, but Bruce puts the cowl back on and says he has work to do. Oh my god, I thought this was the end, that it's still fucking going. So, Batman goes to Arkham Asylum, where he deduces the entire 12-issue story in a single page and reveals that the true mastermind behind the whole thing is the Riddler. Yep, the Riddler, off-screen, got a brain tumor, so he found and used a Lazarus pit, but I guess he used it too much or something because he had an epiphany and fucking figured out that Batman is Bruce Wayne. But Batman says that he has nothing to worry about, because if Riddler ever decides to reveal Bruce's secret, then Ra's al Ghul will somehow figure out that Riddler was the one who used the Lazarus pit and kill Riddler. Riddler freaks out, and Batman demands to know where Jason's actual body is. Riddler says that's a great riddle, but the grave was already empty when he got there or something. Then Batman punches him, tells a guard he fell, and leaves. Then the book ends with Bruce standing in a cemetery alongside Selina, and it's a dumb scene that I don't want to talk about. The end.
Okay, I think I think that librarian is on break. I don't see her anywhere. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of What Is. Let me know what you thought of the story in the comments below. Have you seen the Hush animated film? If so, let me know how it was, because I never bothered watching it. Did they change who the Hush was, like they changed the identity of Jack the Ripper in the Gotham by Gaslight movie? Patreon.com/smokey'svideos has pages from Destructo Boy and other exciting tales, which you can access for as little as $2 a month. And for $5 a month, each week you can read the pages from my 166-page graphic novel, A Dead Fish in the Grass. It is an 18-plus comic, so beware, it's graphic. There's also the entire audio commentary from The Fast and the Fermented Episode 1, in which I get progressively more and more drunk while watching the first Fast and the Furious film. Check it out, it's a good time. You can even play along with me if you want to. Reading this story again, it did not change my feelings for it at all. In fact, I think it just made me hate it even more than I already did. It's just not appealing. It's a nothing story with a villain that, why should we care about them? Why is Hush an interesting character? Why? He's a maniac who wanted to kill his parents as a kid and got annoyed when he couldn't. How is he able to do all this shit? Who cares? And it's Batman going into different scenarios where he just fights his villains just so Jim Lee can draw something cool. I don't care. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this comic. What are yours? Hopefully, Linkara isn't able to figure out what video I'm planning on next. I got some new security in my smoky computer. I'll see you next time. Bye!